Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a video where we go over my monthly beauty basket and my declutter from last month. So if you guys are not familiar with this, this is a series that I started doing a couple of months back so that I can kind of get a handle on my makeup to where I am currently doing a low buy, and this also helps me to try what I have and then declutter the stuff that I'm not loving. So each month I put together a beauty basket, and in the beauty basket I put things that I'm kind of on the fence about. I don't know if I want to declutter it, or things that I think are seasonally appropriate, and that way I can kind of get a feel for the formulas, and things that I want to review for the upcoming month and stuff like that. And then as I'm using all of those things, I'm kind of doing just like on the spot assessments. I'm putting these things on my face and like, do I like this? Do I like the way it looks? And if the answer is no, I declutter it. So first we're going to start, and I'm going to show you the declutter. And then after that, we will build my makeup basket for next month. So I want to start off, you know what? I'm just going to go in the order in which I would apply things. So I do have complexion products first. So the first three things I have are kind of like primers. This first one is from Beauty Pie, and I actually liked this when I first got it. And this is the All-in-Wonder Illuminating Primer. And it used to be in black packaging, and I remember really liking it then and having no issues. And then I got rid of the one in black packaging because they came out with new packaging, and I don't know if they switched the formula, but this one oxidizes on me a lot. And so it starts off like a color that's pretty close to my skin tone. And let me kind of just like rub it in all over my hand though. And you can see it looks really nice. It's kind of like one of those, you just got a facial kind of looks. But it's moisturizing, and it just kind of helps to blur a little bit, but it does add a little bit of sheen. But my problem with it is throughout the day, I would notice that I not only looked a little bit greasy, but then I also look darker than when I started the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and have to pass that on. Maybe in the summer it would be suitable, but I don't wanna have to mess with something or have another day where I look in the mirror halfway through at work and I have brown face. So then also I got this. I haven't even opened it, but I'm not a primer person. And this is the NYX Plump Right Back with Electrolytes Plumping Serum. I'm just gonna pop this in there. I know I'm not going to use it, and I'm just going to give it to a friend. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow Instant Soft Focus Beauty Flash. So this is like a deluxe sample. I think I got it like in a kit. Not only is it a friggin' mess, but when I apply it, it's just a little bit too golden, and then it just throws the tones off on my face. So I don't know if you can kind of, yeah, you can even see that here. Just makes the tone a little bit weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on, which obviously I'm gonna pass all this on. I can just stop saying that. All right, so I did a video, actually a couple of videos talking about Jones Road Beauty. And I kept holding on to this, hoping that I would like it more. And I'm not sure, but I used it a couple of times at the beginning of the month, and I'm not sure if it's what's causing my breakouts. I feel like every time I use it, like my neck is broken out, but then also I started getting these really hard under the skin sorts of breakouts, but they weren't big and puffy. It's just like I would get a dot like this, and it would be there for a long time, and then I would squeeze it and try to, I mean, you don't need to know that, but I would like squeeze it and try to get rid of it, and like nothing would help. I stopped using this because I used it probably 5 or 6 times this month, and my skin is starting to clear up. So I don't know if like it's mostly essential oils. I think that could be a big issue. And also because it is so oily, it's an absolute mess, and it separates every time. I did stir it up to use it a couple days ago, but it's already starting to separate. So it's just kind of a mess. And I think she's even mentioned that it separates, but I don't want to have to like clean a tool and swirl this around, and like it's just too much work. I need something that's a little bit easier and it's quick. I think this kind of defeats the purpose of her line, because she wants like natural, sort of like easy, slap on, effortless makeup, and this is far from effortless. So then I have this from Nude Sticks, and I think I just had it too long. It started to separate in here, and the color isn't quite right for me. And then I have this from IT Cosmetics. It's the Bye Bye Under Eye Full Coverage Anti-Aging Waterproof Concealer. So this makes my under eyes look so old. I tried to use it again today with just to kind of double check with the Get Ready With Me. Let me zoom you in. And it like clings to those areas and is patchy. And I tried to fix it the best I could, but like it just looks really patchy and dry in areas. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on to maybe somebody who has a little bit more moisture in their skin. And then this is the Maybelline Glass Spray. It's a setting spray, and I typically like a more hydrating setting spray, but this is straight up oil. So I like a hydrating setting spray, or even like a regular setting spray if I've hydrated my skin enough. But this just is like an oil slick, and it's even a biphase. I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of see it's a biphase in here. And it also sprays kind of splotchy as well. So it'd be a little bit different if it were like a fine mist and I could just do one fine mist and it have oil and it not affect me that much. But I'll kind of spray here and see if you can kind of see. And then you see how it's like all splotchy, and then those are on your face, and since it's an oil, it like picks up your makeup in those areas. So you guys are gonna be so proud of me because I went hard on my blushes this month. So I'm gonna go through in no particular order and just try to tell you why I got rid of them. The first one is I actually love this formula. This is the Laura Mercier blush in Guava. And you can see it's the same depth as my skin tone, but it does lean a little bit peach. So when I put it on, it doesn't look like I'm flushed peach. It just looks like I have like a slightly peach powder, and it just makes my face look a little bit discolored. So I would say if you are more fair than I am, because I'm a light olive, if you're a fair olive, I think that this would actually be beautiful. But I just need something that's slightly more deep than this. This is definitely just too pale for me. So back in the day when Pixie Woo were in their heyday, they used to use these what are these called? These watercolor liquid cheek colors from Daniel Sandler. And I always wanted to get my hands on them. So I finally found online like a kit that comes with like 2 sort of highlighter products and 2 blushes. Unfortunately, these colors just aren't right for me no matter how I try to mix them. The highlighters kind of lean a little bit weird. This one might be, it's like a gray gold pink. And it just is a little bit deep for a highlighter. If I mix it with a blush, it might be okay, but I don't want to mess with all of that. So I'm just going to pass these on as a set all together. And I was thinking about, well, okay, maybe I'll keep the peach one, but I have so many other blushes in that color, and then these are just kind of finicky. So I'm just gonna get rid of those. I'm also getting rid of the Daniel Sandler watercolor gel cheek color. And again, because the shade is a super kind of light peach. And there we are. But it just, you can kind of see it next to my face. It just doesn't look like it would belong on my face, or that I would even flush that way. Like my skin just doesn't, I need a little bit more like pink or rose in with this peach to make it look like it belongs on my face. Kind of the same deal. This is a very similar color. Actually, this goes a little bit more brown. This is Glossier's Dusk. And it is like a grayed terracotta color. So here it is. And there we go. Just the color's not quite right for me. And I mean, I'm gonna say that on all of these, the color's just not quite that right. Except for this one, the color is great. This is NARS Unlawful. I love the color of this. The problem is, look at all the glitter. It's just too much, and it falls all over my face. I can kind of like dust off the brush and then not get a ton of it. But I mean, it's still quite a bit. Here it is swatched. It's beautiful. Just too much glitter for me. I'm gonna give it to somebody younger. So I'm getting rid of 2 of these Bare Minerals bronzers. I'm getting rid of Kiss of Rose and Kiss of Copper. These are the 2 deeper shades. I'm keeping Kiss of Pink because this is the right depth for me. But these are definitely for somebody with deeper skin, I would say. This one's for deep and this one's for medium. So I'm gonna pass those on to somebody that will actually use them. Okay, and then I have some cream blushes in hot form that I am getting rid of. The first two are from Phytosurgeons. I got rid of a couple Phytosurgeons last month, and then I kept playing around with these. And again, it's just the tone. These are beautiful. This one is in Evaporate, and then this one is Exothermic. And I just had so many blushes. I wanted to keep the ones that I knew would work for me, because also these have a very emollient sort of fatty formula, and you can kind of see already like the fat coming to the surface. There you go. Like it kind of separating and coming to the surface. And these are not very old at all. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass these on, and then I'll let them decide if they want it because of like the separation. But it's not old enough for that to be mold. It's literally like the fat separating and coming to the top. And then this is from Beauty Pie. It's in the shade Sexy Berry, and just this color just is not right for me. This is from Laura Mercier's new blush line. This is the Tinted Moisturizer Blush, and this is in Sun Drenched. And I ended up buying another color that suited me better. The color that actually works for me is Southbound. It's like a sort of dusty pink with a hint of peach. But this one was a little deeper, more terracotta, and I think this would just look good on somebody who's just a little bit darker than me. So there it is. Yeah, it definitely leans like a red orange, and that's just too much for me. It pulls very red, but not in a good way, not like in a sunburnt red, but it just looks really out of place on me. I'm getting rid of this blush, obviously, from the Creme, and this is in Rose Day. I just never use it. It's actually a really pretty color. There it is. It's a great color. I just have other stuff similar, and I'm not gonna reach for that over it. And then NARS Torrid is one of my favorite blushes, but I actually have a full size, so I don't know why I'm holding on to this little sample size. I'm getting rid of this Tartelette Blush in Bloom. I mean, it's like practically new. I just don't reach for it. And then I'm getting rid of this because the coloring is off. It's the Bobbi Brown Pot Rouge for Lips and Cheeks in Blushed Rose. This is for somebody with a cooler skin tone, like that, not quite right for me. And so I put this in my beauty basket last month because it was getting older and I wasn't quite sure. And I just found the most used thing in here is the Laguna bronzer, which I have on its own. Everything else is hardly touched. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pass that on. I have this from, what is it? Glam Glow. Do you remember this highlighter palette? I hardly ever use that. I have this little mini NARS Laguna. Again, I have the full size. And so I just decided if I had the full size of something, I was gonna go ahead and pass on the minis. This is the Milani Sun Kiss Bronzer, and this is in the shade 02, and it's cool toned, and it leans a little bit pink, which I don't know if you can kind of tell like next to my face, but it just on my skin, it's just cool and pink, and it just doesn't look quite right. This is NARS Seaside, and this leans a little bit too terracotta. And then this, I'm so surprised I'm getting rid of this because I recently purchased it. Well, pretty recent, like it was in 2022, but like in the fall. This is the Clarins bronzer, and it just goes really orange on me. I think the one that I had before, because they come out with a bronzer similar to this during the summer months every couple of years. The one I had before kind of gave a little bit of oranginess, like a little bit of life, but this is like orange. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on. So then I do have some eye products I'm getting rid of. Two from Jones Road. And the first one is this sparkly eye paint. Let's be real, I'm not gonna use this. And then the other one is an eyeshadow, and this is the shade Sienna. Again, it just goes too orange. If it were a little bit more subdued, that would be a maybe, but it's just too much. And then one eyeshadow that I kind of surprised myself with, but this is the Burberry in Nude. So I love this formula, you can see here, but this is sort of a taupey gray silver kind of color. And it just doesn't go with my kind of complexion, and I would rather somebody use it before it actually goes bad. They could actually get use out of it and it would go with their complexion. I have here 2 Urban Decay eye pencils in Alkaline and Torch. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought these. So I'm gonna pass those on. I have 2 Beauty Pie. I have Copper Hazy and Molten Bronze. So I so badly wanted these to work because they're inexpensive. But the thing with these is they look like the colors I want them to be when kind of swatched heavily. Like this one's kind of a reddened bronze. And then this one is kind of like a taupey bronze. But on both of them, instead of actually going, I would prefer them to go a little bit more golden or like sepia when blending out. If I try to smudge them out, they go grayish, sort of like murky gray with a hint of those colors. I don't know if I waited too long to smudge. I don't know if you can tell, but they just kind of go a little bit murky. And so I don't know what the deal with the base in them is, but they don't work well for me. And then this is from Wayne Goss, and this is Blue Sapphire. I mean, you get this stuff thinking that you're going to use a navy eyeliner. I'm not going to use a navy eyeliner. I very rarely wear eyeliner, and if I do, it's brown, sometimes black. So I am passing those along. All right, and then I have some lip products I'm getting rid of. Again, another Jones Road product. This is the lip tint in Nude Rose. Again, the coloring is just not right for me. This would look much better on somebody with a cool skin tone. I'm getting rid of this Fenty gloss. This is in Fenty Glow. It's their gloss bomb. Everybody talks about how wonderful this product is. I want to love it, but it's too sticky. And it moves. It doesn't kind of stay. It doesn't stay where you put it. And then also the glitters in it. When I put my lips together and try to like work it in, I feel the glitters, and my lips are always chapped after I use it. I feel like I'm getting micro cuts in my lips. So I'm getting rid of that. Same reason I'm getting rid of this, not because of glitter, but because it's irritating. And I knew it would be irritating. You could see that like I didn't like really use it. I took some out on a cotton swab and put on my lips the other day just to see what the experience would be. This is the Too Faced Lip Injection Maximum Plump, by the way. My lips instantly got red and irritated, and they were like chapped for like 2 days after. I don't know how people can like continually wear this. Like it was awful. I will say though, my lips were plumped, but it was because they were very irritated. And then I have this from Beauty Pie. This is the shade Really Good Raisin. It's a matte lipstick. It's just a little too deep for me. I think the coloring is okay. It may be a little bit too wine, but I'm just not gonna wear it. It's just a little too deep. This shade does make my teeth look whiter though. And then these are both in the packaging, and just by looking at them, I have other things. I'm not gonna go for these sorts of orangey colors. And I got these as a gift with purchase when I got this eye makeup remover. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and pass them on. So that is everything I'm decluttering for the month of February. Give me a second, I'm gonna put the stuff away and I'll be back to fill up my beauty basket for March. All right, so I'm back and ready to fill up this month's beauty basket. And you probably saw when I did last month's that I had put some foundations in there, and my whole plan for the month was to kind of try out those foundations, and each Friday, I think Thursday or Friday, I was going to do kind of like a foundation review. I was gonna wear that foundation for the week, and then I was gonna review it in that video. And I quickly found out that I just couldn't. I think my skin was also like not at its best, and so I didn't think that was fair. But there were a few foundations that I tried that like were really rough. And I don't know if it's my skin. It could also be the coloring as well. So I want to kind of pull back from that a little bit. And I know that I also have to adjust the color to everything because I am olive, and they recently pointed out that when people go to make foundations, or not people, but when companies go to make foundations, they very rarely ever put blue in their foundation, and that's what I need, so I have to like add that to everything. Typically what they use black, white, yellow, and red. And just the mixture of those is whatever the foundation color they come out with. But then it's never toned down enough, and the only way to get it toned down enough is to get a super pale shade, but then I look like a ghost and the coloring is still a little bit off. And so I was running into that quite a bit. Just as an example, this foundation from House Labs from Lady Gaga. So everybody was talking about how they liked the formula. I went in store, and even though it's typically not that helpful, this is the closest shade the Sephora employee could get to my skin tone. And as you can see, it is still, even though it doesn't look too dark, it still leans very orange. And the whole color range on this is kind of weird too. This is light neutral. So it's a mess. So I'm gonna kind of play around with it, but also when I would put it on, it felt so heavy, and this is supposed to be a serum foundation. And so I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know if I need to apply it with like even more skincare on my face, or like just don't put skincare, let this be your skincare, maybe use a beauty blender. Like, I have no idea, but this is not working out for me. So I'm gonna put it back in the basket, but just know the reason that you did not get a lot of foundation reviews or any really other than the Chanel is because I've had a really hard time with foundations this month. So there's that. Also for Dior. So last month I was gonna do one of these. I was gonna do a full face of Dior. This one is olive, and it is in the shade 1.5N, but it's too dark. And then this is in the shade 1N. And it oxidizes so much, and it's matte and looks so heavy on my skin. I was expecting, since it's like a face and body foundation, to be like MAC face and body. So here it is starting out here, but give it a few minutes. We'll do the video. I'll let you look back. It like turns like full on brown. So I do want to put in these Tom Ford foundations. I think I am going to do a Tom Ford video. So I think between the Tom Ford and the House Labs, I think I'm gonna be okay, because I don't want to overdo it, even though, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try to add 2 more foundations in the event that those actually work out for me well enough for me to be able to do a review. If I have to wash my face in the morning after putting on my foundation, I just can't bear to like go into work with my, like, I have to wash my face. I can't bear to go into work with my face looking like that. So then I can't really give a thorough review of the foundation because I don't want to look crazy. So I want to do an hourglass video, so we'll pop that in there. And again, I think this might have been my last month's too. It just leans a little orange. And I might do one day where I just put it on. You can see what the tones look like on me, but I think I'm going to have to color correct every single one of these foundations. And we'll do this NARS foundation. It is pretty light, so this should be okay. It's in the shade Gobi. And maybe I'll do a full face of NARS too. So I think that's enough foundation. All right. So then also I was kind of in a sort of blush rut last month, mostly because I was trying to see what I wanted to keep, what I didn't want to keep, and I ended up getting rid of quite a bit. But one of the things that I kept swatching, and I wasn't sure what to do about them, were these Chanel stick blushes. I have 2, and I don't think that I like the formula. So this is the Le Beige's blush. I have number 23 and I have number 20. And these feel very glidey, almost like silicone heavy. And so it's like a matte sort of silicone heavy blush. And they look a little bit blotchy, and they're heavily scented. So this one, yeah, that was number 23 I just swatched, and then this is number 20. And I think also the color on this one just may not be a good match for me. So I'm gonna play around with these, but these are definitely on the chopping block for decluttering, which sucks because they're so expensive. I kind of want to play around with these either in a video, like specifically about them, or just in a regular one, but I got these Jason Wu. These are called, what are these called? I don't know what they're called. It's called HF, so I don't know, and then they have the numbers. But these are supposed to be able to use on your lips, your eyes, and your cheeks, and they're like the sort of monotone things, but I don't know. Like this one I probably wouldn't use on my lips. This one I probably wouldn't use, I don't know, at all, because the coloring just seems off, at least based off the tube. So maybe, I don't know. It looks a little bit different there. I don't know. I need to play around with them and then maybe pass them on if I'm not going to use them. So I'm gonna stick those in there kind of on the chopping block as well. I'm gonna put this in there. This is from Makeup by Mario. And this is the Skin Enhancer. And I don't know, I feel like the coloring should be okay, but every time I use it, I just feel like my makeup looks a little bit off. So we're gonna toss that in there too. And I'm only gonna add a few more things so I don't get overwhelmed. All but like a few of these are on my chopping block. So the first thing are these About Faced Fluid Eye Paints. And I just don't know if the shades are quite right for me. This first one in Smell Before Rain, I think is actually probably an okay sort of tone. And so I want to use this one and get some use out of it. But the other one is the shade Capulets. Capulets, I don't know. And it leans a little bit more like pinky. And as you know, pink eyeshadows typically do not look good on me, at least in my opinion. So I'm gonna play around with it, maybe mix them, see what I think. But I definitely think the pink one might be going. And then I got this palette from Makeup by Mario when it came out, and I used it once. And I'm looking at it, and it's like, I don't even know why I bought it. It has all the colors that do not work well for me. It's got pink, it's got gray, and it has like creamsicle. None of those colors really work well for me, so I don't know why I picked it up, but I am gonna play with it a little bit more, see what I think, and if not, go ahead and pass that on. This from Fenty Beauty. It's this eyeshadow and bronzer palette. So here's the thing. The bronzer shades that would work best for me if they were bronzer would probably be these three, but not even like the shades that would work well, but the tones are great for my skin. However, they're too deep. And I know people are like, well, then just use a lighter hand. That doesn't change the depth of color. That just shears it out. That changes opaqueness. So yeah, I could go a little bit more sheer with it, but you know, it's still not ideal. Now, I'm thinking about it like using it on my eyes. I have eyeshadows that are probably similar to these. Is the formula that great that I want to keep it? So I'm gonna play around with it, see what I think. Though the one shade that the depth is actually okay, which is this one, maybe possibly this one, but I do have this in the full size bronzer. So I'm gonna go ahead and include that. I have one blush palette that I wanna kind of try out and determine whether or not I wanna keep it. And it is this one from NARS. Kind of the same idea, the tones are a little bit off because you have like those creamsicle-y type colors that don't have enough pink in them. But then you have these pinks right here that lean a little bit purple, which doesn't look right on me. But I remember liking the formula on this, and I think that's why I'm holding on to it. So I'm gonna play around with it. If the tones aren't good, I'm gonna give it to somebody else. And then this one I just pulled out and I wanna use just because I wanna use it. And this is my palette from Salt New York. And I think because I've been in a rut, I wanna pull it out. Because for foundation, the tones in her foundations are olive, like in almost all of them. And they really work well for my skin. So I have the two lightest shades I have 2 blushes here, 2 highlighters, and 2 bronzers. In this little palette here, because they all didn't fit in there, I do have another like contour or bronzer and another blush. So I'm pulling these out to kind of get some use out of, maybe on those days where I feel like I'm kind of in a rut. So that's it. So I think that is everything I'm pulling out this month. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I feel like I was testing so much stuff last month that I was in a makeup, like a full-on makeup rut. And I also just like started getting rid of stuff because I was getting frustrated. And then there were days where I didn't like my makeup at all, especially on the products that would like get deeper and deeper on my skin as the day went. So I'm gonna try it this way, see what I think, and hopefully some videos come of it this month. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah, I must try to figure it out alone.